Hey, welcome back. Episode 4. We're diving back into this, the $60 million sales script. So on the last episode, episode 3, we spoke about discovery, right? Practical discovery. Today, we're moving that conversation into emotional discovery. So things like what is emotional discovery, when to use it, and the pros and cons, all right? Before I dive into the emotional component, I want to go back and recap a little bit of the practical stuff, right? I think it's really critical to be able to make those two things congruent, right? They have to lead into each other. And if we were to talk about what is emotional discovery, what it is, it's a lens outside of practical discovery. So practical discovery, if you remember in episode 3, was all about what was the reason the customer sent through the inquiry, right? To earn more money, pivot to a new industry, get a new job, needed a change, had a baby on the way, wanted to support the family, was worried about the future, looking for prosperity. So there's all these things in that practical application that you will look for that the customer will communicate to you. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to a customer providing money for high ticket items like education, so we have a couple of education brands, and they're going to fork over $5,000 for a product, it's an emotional purchase. Selling education is an emotional journey. It's not a practical one. It's very different to going to an e-com site, to a shopping cart and purchasing a pair of jeans or a t-shirt, right? That costs $50 or $100. You just throw them in the cart, you might add a couple of items, purchase, and those will get sent to your home. You'll try them on, they didn't fit, you send them back, you get credit or they give you a refund, right? This is different. So we use an emotional discovery. Now, I think you could use that for every type of product. I don't think there's a particular vertical in which it pertains. I think you can pretty much use it anywhere. Practical, again, is getting the core information about why they inquired, and emotional is different. Emotional is where you will probably use most of that intel or information and data in the ejection handle on the close and close attempting as well, right? And that's about holding people accountable, because people do need to be held accountable. And I think selling education is pretty cool, right? Is that this is a product that can change someone's life. We truly believe that. So, we want to hold them accountable, especially if they say to us, I've been thinking about it for 2 years and they haven't done anything. So we'll push that agenda. Okay, so I've got some emotional questions here. The first thing is you need to understand when to use it. And then the second part to that is who you should use it on, because it won't work for everybody. So there's 4 different personality types, scientific personality types. There's a particular personality type inside that. Well, there's 2 of them actually. One of them stronger than the other. The first is an A-type personality. Very choleric personality. Strong man, wants to get to the point, or woman wants to get to the point. Give me the price, give me the details, and I'll make a decision, right? Then you have an analytical personality, another difficult personality to contend with on the phone because they need the details over a period of time. And then there are 2 other personalities where emotional discovery works probably a little bit more, right? So now you know what emotional discovery is. I want to talk about when you use it and how you identify the person that you should use it on. There's 4 types of personalities. So you need to be very careful that you don't use emotional discovery on the wrong person, because if you do, they're going to hang the phone up on you, plain and simple. So emotional discovery is going really deep and connecting them to their why, right? Some of them are quite surface level. So practical is all about surface level. Money, industry, pivot, career, job. Now that's really simple stuff for people to talk about, but emotional discovery is different, right? So when to use it, you have to be very clear and concise about when you execute against emotional discovery. So hypothetically, if you're an A-type personality, man or woman, very, very strong, very to the point, very focused, they just want to get the price, they want to get the small details, the entry point details, make a decision, they'll pay for it right then and there, put it on their credit card, hang the phone up, and they'll just say, send me the information. Great, love that customer, by the way. But then you're going to get a customer who can't quite connect, right? Because for them, it's emotional. So now you need to move into emotional discovery. Let me run through some questions. This is what we do in our team, right? So let me read a caveat in the script we actually have for our agents to read before they go into the discovery, just to familiarize themselves with what they should be doing and why they should be using emotional discovery. So it says, this line of question is more emotional, meaning it should be more driven towards what is behind the reason for the inquiry and the purchase. What is the emotional why? This line of questioning cannot be used on everybody. Consider your customer, their personality type before proceeding. Proceed with caution. This is an optional page. So the caveat is you don't use it on everybody, you only use it on some, and there's some training behind that, which we'll get to in another episode. I'm gonna run through some of the questions in that as well. Okay, so the first question is, so you mentioned you're looking to X, so what they're looking to achieve. Can you tell me more about that? So that's an entry point, right? It's a doorway open and they start talking about well, I've got a baby on the way. So we use that in episode 3. So the gentleman says, look, I have a baby on the way, so I need to increase my income. So you can talk about, in the emotional discovery component, you can talk about the incoming child, right? The birth, congratulations, how long have you been thinking about it? And really go into a dialogue and a sincere communication track about their life, right? That's what emotional communication is all about, and emotional discovery is all about. So let's just say in pivot to income. So because of the child, look, my wife's going to be due in 8 months, sorry, 7 or 8 months. I think it's 9 months, right? Yeah, anyway, you get that. I should know that. I have 2 children. He goes, I need to earn more money. So he's freaking out, and I get it, right? That's a really emotional thing for a man, especially if it's your first child. So he's gone in his brain, I need to earn more money to support my family. I need a bigger house. I need a backyard, and all these things are going through his mind. So you need to connect to that. So I will go deep on money because I think money is at the heart of most things, right? So I would say one of the questions we have here after that is this about increasing your income, or is it something else? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to force them to think about the outcome, the result, right? Why they came to us. So the customer, Matt Damon, may say, look, it is about the income, but it's also about a bit of security for the family. I want to move into a career and work for an employer that I can be there for 5 or 10 years. Bang, like that's huge, right? And you might go in response to that, why is that important to you? There's the emotional question, right? All of these are emotional questions that lead to emotional responses. And we're not talking about people going to roll over and start crying. What I'm saying is that it's connected sincerely in here to the outcome and the result that the customer is looking to achieve. Now, if you can do that, that's so powerful. I think it's so sincere, I think it's so honest, and I think it really has a lot of synergy to the result for the customer. And I always say to our guys, right, your job is to serve. Your job is not there to ram products down people's throats and make money. Yeah, yes, we do need to make money. We are a commercial free enterprise. I get that. And the revenue that we generate, we can go on to help more people. But here's the thing, you have to start with serving your customer. The emotional component is where you can really do that well. I'll keep moving forward. Another question is, so talk to me about what's important to you in finding the right employer. What does that look like? Well, right, so he's going to go, well, look, I've got 3 employees here that I've always wanted to work for. So who are they? He will tell you, and then he'll start talking about what's important to him. So now you're gathering emotional information about how your customer makes decisions and why they make those decisions. So a bit of a formatting and a bit of an algorithm on how they think, right? I think that's really critical. You might say, so this security is really important to you and your family, right? And they'll go, yeah, absolutely, it's really important to me. Okay, so now you're moving into this becoming an investment, not so much a purchase, right? Because to change your future and to create security for yourself and your family, I would say to him, requires you to invest in that. Would you agree? He would go, yes. So what I'm doing is I'm dropping little pieces of information in the discovery component. I'll quickly run through some of the other questions here. Is this about lifting your profile? Would you like to learn new skills? Why is that important to you? What did your previous education look like? I've got here. So you seem worried about the future and worried about securing and providing security to yourself and your family. Why is that important to you? I go into money and get emotional about it. So, what are you earning now and what do you need to earn? And I really get them thinking about that. I know that's a practical component, but in the emotional component, you can go so deep on that. You could say things like, so, if you could choose what your salary would be to support yourself and your family, what would it be? And he'd go, I'd love to earn 200,000. What do you want now? He goes 75. So what you do is you're establishing that gap. But that $125,000 is where you play and where you talk to him and where you go deep on emotion, right? It says, well, how do you think you could get there and how long would it take? So now I'm putting a pathway together for him for 5 years, right? So he's on 75, he's 25 years old. For him to get to $200,000, he's now 35 years old, right? So this is 10 years later and he's earning $200,000. So lastly, pros and cons, right? There's good things and bad things about doing emotional discovery. Some of them you really need to understand, because I think if you don't going into it, you're going to trip up on yourself. Because if you try to do an emotional discovery with the wrong person, and this is one of the biggest cons, is that they'll hang up on you. Because they'll say to themselves, well, what are you talking about? I'm just calling about a product. Because that's how they see it. I just want to know the price, what the process is, mate, and how do I get started? Can you give me a discount and I'll make a decision? So remember I spoke about the 2 personality types. So that's a con. Big, serious no-no. Do not do that. So through the practical component and the discovery, understand who your customer is. So Pro, it really secures the customer. It really gets you to connect with them. You really get to understand deeply what they're looking to achieve. Okay. You'll get more information out of them that you can use in objection handling and in the close than you will in a practical only component of discovery. You'll create better rapport. The relationship will be deeper. Okay. So the bad things about emotional discovery, like I said, is if you pick the wrong person, and sometimes it's very hard to find the right person to do emotional discovery with, you'll lose them. They'll hang the phone up, or they will tell you what you want to hear because they don't want to tell you the truth. And then they'll ghost you and never pick the phone up again. The other bad thing about it, and there's not many, not as many pros, but one of the serious cons, when you get into the conversation and you haven't identified them properly or qualified their personality typing, they're going to start to agree with you because they just want to get off the phone. They're going to say, I don't know, yeah, that's right. Well, you tell me. And the conversation is going to feel a little bit off. So you need to pull back and you need to get out of there as fast as you can. So it's all about sensitivities, right? So you just need to understand that and be careful. Okay, so look, I hope that helps. Look, that's all I've got for this episode. So next week, we're going to dive into providing information to the customer and how to do that effectively, right? So we look forward to doing that. Thanks for joining. I look forward to speaking to you next time. Cheers. Look, I hope you found something that you liked or that you think may work for your business. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button. We try to push out as much content and good content as we can. We really appreciate your watching and look forward to speaking to you next time.